Once again, my name is Oliver Kirisia with the OK session where every discussion makes you K in the long run. Now today, last time we looked at character and character development, but now we looked at the session, last time session we looked at character itself alone. But now this session, I'm going to look at what character development is. Character development is basically the growth of that character that we had discussed earlier on. So the growth of that character it's quite a journey. And that's why I'm saying now this is character development. Now, when we are discussing character development, we are bound to say that it's a process and it's an adventure. It's no longer what most of us think that it's a destination. Like it's something that if I do today, if I wake up today, I'll become a good character. Character development is actually the process of bringing together those good qualities that you want, and slowly by slowly cultivating them day in, day out to make sure that you have that particular character that you've always desired to have. So at the end of it all, it's no longer about the destination. It's about the adventure and the process of growing towards achieving that good character that one desires. And for you, basically, to bring that to rest is to say, one may actually be born in church, but they're not of good character. This is one narrative that is going to show you. If you look around, you'll see so many people who are born in church and their parents have practiced Christianity, their parents have practiced Islam, if it's Buddhism. But at the end of it all, those values they're not reflective in those particular individuals. Say that character development is no longer about the surrounding. It's actually a personal choice for you to develop your character and having a sense of vision and a passion towards achieving that goal. So to develop your character properly, you must have a good vision. And one thing that is very important and is very key is to make sure that you have purpose in your life. And to gain this purpose, first of all, is to make sure that you also have a purpose to have a godly character. Once you've purposed for a godly character, then you start working towards it. And a sense of purpose is quite important, because if you don't have that sense of purpose, you won't even be able to know the kind of person you want to become. So it's very important, because that is what is going to propel us towards the kind of life that you want to live and the kind of character you want to attain and achieve as a person. So there are things that we will have to look at for you to be able to develop your character. First of all, you want to look at what is your purpose. And secondly, you want to look at what's my passion? What do you love doing? And then you'll also want to look at what is my vision. And lastly, you'll also want to look at what is your role model. Those are very fundamental questions that one needs to ask themselves before they are able to now come and say, this is the character I want to journey towards. So it's quite important, very, very important. And something also that I might want to note on the role models is also very important. It's very important to know the kind of role model that you're going to emulate. The kind of role model that you're going to emulate, this role model must be able to give you that positive attitude. They must be in possession of a positive attitude, or a good character as well as individuals. And they must also be people who are godly. That is one way of knowing a good character. And then one thing I also want to note is that there's nothing that happens by accident. Especially when we are doing this character development thing, there's nothing that happens by accident. You make choices, and they're quite tough choices that you make, and those choices are the ones that are going to make you. Yeah, then there's something else I also want to add on top of that. A habit. When we're discussing this character development, those small things that are those things that matter towards the growth of an individual. So you create a habit of doing these small things, because this habit will grow into a character. And another thing that you'll also want to do is to live your life as a pace setter. Don't have so many so many examples that might not really relate to what you want to achieve. Live your life as a pace setter. Do not live your life by the mercies of others. That will also propel you towards achieving your goal. And then I would also want to discuss now, importantly, I would also want to say what now will make us grow this character into something that is desirable, something that we have always looked upon, that's something that we've always wanted to be, that character that you've always seen in your role model and you want it to be. There are things that are very important. And these things they're the things that are going to push you to the next level towards achieving that character that you have always desired. And these things include, like your foundation, you must always be anchored on godly principles. That is very important. Feed on the word. Feed on the word. And that, if assuming if you had a very negative attitude, when you keep on feeding on the word, your mindset will definitely change and it will start affecting your lifestyle. Secondly, it's also important, we've always had birds of a feather flock together. Yes, that is very true. Let nobody lie to you that that is not true. That is absolutely true. And those birds will have a great impact on the decisions you make. So company is quite important. You should also be able to have, to be self-regulatory or self-discipline, in other words. Get a list of do's and don'ts. Have those parameters that where you say, I cannot cross this line. Work with them. Know that this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. Have your non-negotiables. Make sure that you don't think twice about them. That will also propel you to the next level. And one thing about the being self-disciplined, it makes decision making so easy. You don't need to think of to start negotiating within yourself on the kind of decision you need to make. Once you have your do's and don'ts, you're clear on what you want. And decision making comes very easy, because when somebody tells you that we are supposed to do A, definitely when you have the do's and don'ts, your brain will definitely tell you that this A is not part of my goals, or is not part of what I want to do. So, and that one is not part of my rules. So, or it does not adhere to what I want to achieve. So that one definitely you'll roll it out. And then there's a last thing that is very important also. There are so many, but it's quite important. It's very important to be humble. Humility is the beginning of wisdom. Be very humble when you want to start developing that character, because pride comes before a fall. So be very humble as you move forward towards developing that character. Those small things. Character development is never about those big things. It starts small. And before you know it, people are seeing it in you before you even realize how far you've gone. Then it's also very important to be very intentional and accountable. Always be accountable to somebody. Know that there's somebody who is going to check you, to put you in check when you are going through this character development process. And lastly, the only thing I want to say is, it is guard your mind. Guard your mind with a lot of zeal and a lot of jealousy. You should always guard your mind, because what you think leads to action, and repeated action becomes a habit, and a habit becomes character. So let us be very keen. Let us be very keen on what we think and what we feed our minds